Welcome to The Social Show. The Social Show is the only show in the Southern Hemisphere that makes sure that you know a little bit about CSI, CSR, and CSV. I know what you're thinking, she brings good news. But do I? Well, we make sure that the government, civil society, as well as corporates come together to make sure that we reach the NDP goals. Now, I want you to sit down and think, what good have I done lately? And while you think, let's go straight into the headlines.
Coming up on The Social Show, we get a full scoop on the Big Buy a Pen, Donate a Pen program. We find out what the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation had to say about the recent H&M scandal. We take a deeper dive into the work of ISKCON Social Development Project Manager Thando Nkonzo on our Game Changer slot. And we end off the show with the Center of Excellency in Food and their involvement in the hit play Another One's Bread. You don't want to go anywhere.
Every single year, the back-to-school period sees a number of children unable to go to school because they lack the necessary tools. And this is what compelled BIC to start their Buy a Pen, Donate a Pen program. And that's what compelled us to actually find out more. BIC South Africa has always shown its commitment to tackling the challenge of education and literacy in South Africa. Today we speak to the marketing manager of BIC Stationery to find out a little bit more about this amazing project. Can you just walk us through the general CSI ethos for BIC?
So BIC is a company that wants to be a brand with a cause within the community, the South African community. And our back to school messaging for 2018 is power their potential, speaking to all the mums and dads to power their potential of the kids. And we want our kids to believe that if they can dream it, they can be it. We want our kids to be aspirational. That is BIC's brand messaging, that they can be whatever they want to be when they grow up. And really, it's our BIC products are there to power their potential to be whatever they want to be and achieve whatever they set out to achieve.
With children being the focal point, would that be perhaps the bedrock or maybe the foundation of the Buy a Pen, Donate a Pen initiative? How did that come about? What was the birth of that?
So yes, you're absolutely right. It's about empowering our kids in our South African community. And how this came about is that, you know, in South Africa, the back to school period is a very, very frenzied and busy period for parents. They have a lot to concentrate on when they shop for back to school. And there's a lot of anxiety for those parents who can't afford to buy stationery. And that is where BIC heeded the call. And since 2011, we've given away 7.3 million pens to underprivileged children in South Africa. And really our hope is to take away that anxiety from parents so that they know when the kids go to school, BIC has supplied that school with enough pens to keep the stationery year going. And also we want our kids to concentrate on learning. We want them to concentrate on their dreams for the future. We want them to concentrate on being aspirational.
Which schools were targeted? I know you spoke about underprivileged, yes. But which schools and in which areas?
Okay, so we distribute our pens through an NGO called the Reed Foundation. The Reed Foundation targets all the underprivileged schools in our community. It's really the rural and township area schools that receive our pens, and they're really in the outlying areas of this country. And we distribute primarily to primary school. And we donate per year about 500 schools.
Wow.
Pens and stationery, mixed stationery products to 500 schools.
That's amazing. I mean, I remember when I used to draw and think and just dream, I used to use a lot of coloring pencils,
yes.
And I think it's very important. Everybody's going digital. It's a digital
yes.
migration.
Yes.
What is the actual role of stationery? What is the role of having a child have a pen and a paper in their hand, as opposed to, this technological revolution that we are under?
So, as you know, everyone has to learn how to read and write. And learning how to write sets that foundation for a child it's the starting point of their entire life and their entire career. And reading and writing and literacy is so important in South Africa for our kids to be able to be literate and to be able to read and write. And to write, you need a pen. So a pen still plays a very, very important tool in our schools. As you know, over the back to school period, a lot of the parents are shopping off stationery lists for pens. Schools still require it, the kids still require it, and yes, we know there's a move towards digital. BIC is very active on the digital platforms. We have our own Facebook and Twitter pages as well, but at the end of the day, a pen will always remain. You know the saying, the pen is mightier than the sword.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, pens are still very much needed, and not just by kids, by corporates, by companies. It's very much a tool that will be around for a very long time.
I love it because it's so holistic.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about the mechanics of buy a pen, donate a pen? How does it work? What kind of stationery do they get?
Absolutely.
And how does the pen get from the consumer to the child?
So the Buy a Pen, Donate a Pen program is really so simple. One of BIC's core values is simplicity, and all we ask is that all of our shoppers go into any of the major retail outlets throughout the country. We have marked 20 of our products with a little sticker on the product. The sticker says, buy a pen, donate a pen. For every product that is purchased by the customer, we will give away a pen to a child in need. So really, we're not asking our mums and dads and shoppers of stationery to take out any more money from their pocket. We're not asking them to contribute over and above. We're just saying choose one of those 20 specially marked products over the back to school season, which runs from Jan to March. Buy any of those specially marked products for your child to empower them, and when you buy that pack, we monitor it and we will donate one pen to a child in need. Simple, simple, simple. Urging all of our shoppers, while you're shopping for your back to school stationery, please buy those packs. And not just mums and dads, a lot of tertiary learners go back mid-Feb. When they're doing their shopping for their university year ahead, please buy those packs that have that sticker on, and let BIC create magic for these kids. Let us empower them, and let us together, us at BIC as well as our shoppers and consumers, let us both together give away as many pens as possible to our kids.
And I was the marketing manager of BIC Stationery, Renette Kishin, talking to us a little bit about the Buy a Pen, Donate a Pen initiative. Now, if you want to know a little bit more, you can log on to their Facebook page. But before that, take a break and we'll be back on the social show after this.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.bstownmedia.co.za.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
So is there a responsible way to make sure that retailers are held liable for racist adverts? Well, we caught up with the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation to find out the H&M of it all.
The Ahmed Kathrada Foundation was formed in 2008 to continue the legacy of the anti-apartheid struggle stalwart Ahmed Kathrada and his generation. Since then, the objective of the foundation has been to deepen non-racialism in post-apartheid South Africa. The foundation has also been vocal about the recklessness exhibited by the H&M advert, which showcased a young black boy wearing a hoodie with the words "coolest monkey in the jungle." We chat to the CEO to find out more.
Well, preceding that, the foundation had written to H&M, basically raising its objections to the advert in which they had depicted or had the words "cutest monkey in town" with a young black kid in Sweden. And what we wanted to bring to their attention was that the fact that within a context of slavery, colonization and apartheid, why we thought that this was demeaning, derogatory and racist, because one has to put all of that within its context. And all we got was a standard statement that they issued out, I think in an automated way, saying, look, we've apologized for this, we're sorry, and so forth. But we wanted more. What we were really wanting was to understand how this came about and what steps they would take to in fact prevent it. It's in that context that we wrote to H&M's South African headquarters, expressing the same sentiments, but concluding that if it were possible, we would want to in fact meet with them and engage around this issue. And we see that kind of engagement as important to check whether the South African branch of H&M, whether they share the same understandings as their headquarters. I think the reactions have been varied. Some, and it comes immediately after the Trump statements. For some people, this is an affirmation of Trump's own sentiments. So you have this global growing force of racists who are now more vocal, because I think Trump has given them the kind of audacity to be more visible and vocal about their racism. So you have those who would want to defend what has happened here. Then there are others who don't see anything wrong, because for them the usage of the term monkey is an endearing one. Within a kind of European context, they see monkey as an endearing thing, and they might well be calling their kids monkeys. But they don't understand the connotations and how this particular usage of monkey in particular had deep-rooted links to the whole slavery and colonization project. And it is that I think we would need to get them to understand, who cannot distinguish between who is responsible for this, and would hold everybody in H&M culpable for this. And we think that it's important to draw the distinction between the decision makers and the workers within this institution. And there are varying views as to whether it requires a complete shutdown and for H&M to leave the country, or for them to identify the problems and to indicate how they intend solving it. And we would then need to pronounce on whether their steps are sufficient to deal with the problem as we think it is. We had contacted a number of high-profile celebrities who had in fact agreed to join us in a picket outside H&M in Sandton in particular on Monday the 15th, and that we would have then taken to other stores in different parts of Gauteng in particular. But when we got the news on Saturday that this is what has transpired, we were unsure what the situation would be like on Monday, whether the stores would be open, but also we didn't want to be seen to be opportunistic, to now coming after the fact, although this had been planned before the weekend's protest by the EFF. And we thought the most sensible thing to do was to withdraw any forms of action at this point in time. If the need arises, we would review that decision.
The ISKCON Development Foundation is tasked with implementing ISKCON's CSI strategy in sectors including enterprise development, education, healthcare, social and community development. On Game Changers, we highlight ISKCON's Social Development Project Manager for the Western Cape, Tandi Nkonzo, and find out a little bit about the work she's doing in her communities. Check it out.
CSI Western Cape, the major challenges are the budget, because there are so many requests, for instance, that we receive from the community, and these are legitimate, requests, like to improve, for instance, the communities, particularly the previously disadvantaged communities. This area, for instance, is one of the poorest, areas in the Western Cape, Kayam Nandi. And so the challenge is you've got this huge request, and also when you're doing something, I believe you either do it or you just don't do it. Do you know what I'm saying? So to just fund a project for the sake of funding, and you don't look at it, like at the holistic needs, like of the organization. That to me isn't doing justice. But then now you also have to weigh, because there are other, worthy causes, that deserve funding. So that's where the challenge is always, because you are caught in the middle, and some of them, unfortunately, you have to reject them, So I guess that's the biggest challenge. But then the highlights, no matter how, little the budget is, the highlight is to see a smile on those faces that you've just, assisted. It gives you that self-fulfillment. You feel justice has been done. You feel good about yourself because a quality of a life has been improved. Of course, we can't reach everybody, that's the challenge, but the one that you do reach, it's what makes you, good about the work that ISKCON does out there. Training, it can be anywhere, not just, on education. It can be an NGO, for instance, that needs to capacitate its, its beneficiaries. It can be an NPO. And by the way, we also have another training that we do. We call that one a Contractor Academy program, whereby we actually train the small businesses, and it runs for about 8 months, whereby we actually spend plus minus just under 90,000 rands per person. And every year we take about maximum 18, SMMEs, and we put them in that program. And I tell you, the results that we get out of that, it's so fulfilling. The feedbacks that we get, the kind of tenders, or contribution that is SMMEs do, for instance, within ISKCON, or not just ISKCON, anywhere in South Africa. Because remember, we're not just training for ISKCON, but whatever training we do, we also have another good program. We call it Schematis, whereby we do it in partnership with the Stellenbosch University, and we take about 50 learners, and they are not necessarily coming from Western Cape. They come, it's a national program, but we actually do it in partnership with the Stellenbosch University. It takes about 12 months, and it's for students who wrote grade 12 but didn't do well in maths and science. So it's more like a bridging gap, whereby we put them in this program and we improve, the Stellenbosch on our behalf, improves their results so that they can actually access, the tertiary institution, in particular the universities. And even in that program, we get good results. I mean, we're talking PhD students that come from, we're talking doctors, we're talking accountants, we're talking engineers, and some of those engineers are actually working for ISKCON. But like as I indicated, we are not just training for ISKCON, but we're training for the country.
We end off the show with a great conversation with the Centre of Excellency in Food as they talk to us a little bit about why they use the theatre as a measure to inform the masses about food security and nutrition.
The play Another One's Bread was commissioned by the Centre of Excellency in Food Security, a body set up by the Department of Science and Technology and the National Research Foundation. The centre undertakes research to determine how a sustainable food system can be achieved to realise food security for the poor, the vulnerable and the marginalised. We think this play was an interesting way to help deliver their message. Let's take a look.
So the Centre of Excellence in Food Security was launched in April 2014, and it brings together researchers from across 22 local and international organizations and universities. It was co-hosted by the University of the Western Cape and the University of Pretoria to basically conduct research into how a sustainable food system in South Africa can be achieved to ensure nutrition for all, especially the poor and the marginalized.
Well, for me, the notion of mourning is something that I personally was dealing with at the time. And for me, it was some kind of healing, of talking about death in a different way. Also the effect of food and people being poor and not having food to eat. So those things are very close to my heart. So anything actually that has anything about social imbalance or inequalities are something that's very close to my heart.
Well, one of the key deliverables or the mandates of the Centers of Excellence by the NRF is to share the knowledge, to share the research findings with as broad an audience as possible. So it goes beyond just publishing in a journal or presenting at academic conferences. We need to take food itself is about the people, so we need to take the research to the people, and we need to do so in a way that is relatable, that is informative, and that will leave people informed enough to make informed choices about their lives and healthy living and healthy lifestyle. And the easiest way to do it, we figured, let's go to the theater.
Oh my word. So much. First of all, I mean, there's certain things that we had to accept as individuals. Like, for instance, like in the play, we talk about a young girl stealing pads. And then one has to acknowledge the fact, their own privilege, that we actually don't worry about where and how we're going to get sanitary towels. Do you know what I mean? Because it's such... And you don't really think about those things. Like every day that there's people out there who can't even afford pads. And also, in terms of food, we also take it for granted that we eat every day. And doing this show for me, I'm more conscious now about food. I'm more conscious about wasting food. I mean, I remember yesterday I had this meal and I was full and I was literally walking around with this packet because like the idea of leaving food at the restaurant or throwing it away it made me feel uncomfortable. And those are some of the things that I'm dealing with as being part of this process.
Did she tell you she disowned me? Because of the prison thing, yeah, and the shoplifting, and then she said I'm an embarrassment.
I'd like to believe that people will leave here with a better understanding of the complexities associated with food security and food insecurity. That it's not just, South Africa, for example, is faced with the triple burden of malnutrition. We have hunger on one level and then we have obesity on the other. So the play itself tackles multiple of issues such as health, nutrition. We're talking about diabetes, which is a health-related disease and such. So I'd like to believe that people walk out of here with, if nothing else, think differently about the food they eat, the way they access the food, the way people that are without enough money to buy food also have access to those food, and what they put in their bodies, and whether they want to live a healthier life and how do they do that with the little that they have.
I wish the government would just build people houses on decent plots of land, and teach them how to grow their own food.
I think the biggest thing we want to say is one of the our research agenda, as far as possible, is informed by the existing problems. And so there's a lot of what is happening in society that we can feed into. So I think that what we want to take people to know about the center, our research agenda, is actually informed by people's lived experience that shape the way in which we then choose what we go and conduct research on.
5, 6, 7, 8, substitutes.
Well, that's it from us at The Social Show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to know a little bit more about what we do, please go to www.social-tv.co.za. But remember, it's always good to do good but it's even better to do good constantly. Until next time, ciao.
Like these, go to www.social-tv.co.za, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on our social mediums.